Good day, everyone. In this video, we will study about CPU scheduling. CPU scheduling is one of the fundamental aspects of an operating system that ensures our computer run effectively and efficiently. Sa makatuwid, ang CPU scheduling ay crucial para sa effective na operation ng isang computer system. Introduction to CPU scheduling. First is, in a single processor system, only one process can run at any given time, while other processes are required to wait until the running process completes its execution. And the next one is the objective of multiprogramming is to have some process running at all times to maximize CPU utilization. And last but not the least, is several processes are kept in memory at the same time. When one process waits, the CPU jumps to another process and does not remain idle. Ang sinasabi dito is habang ang isang process ay running, other processes ay kailangan maghintay sa ready queue hanggang ang CPU ay maging available ulit. And also the role of the operating system is to manage these processes and schedule them efficiently to maximize CPU utilization and system performance. And by implementing multiprogramming, the system aims to minimize CPU idle time and continuously execute processes, even when some processes are waiting for INO or input and output operations. Isa pa na sinasabi dito ay kapag pumasok ang isang process sa waiting state, ay agad na magsisimula ang CPU na mag-execute ng isa pang process na nakahanda na. And now let's move on to the next page. These are the terms or terminologies that we are going to use later on. The first one is we have the arrival time. From the word arrival time, it is when the process enters to a ready state and becomes available for execution in the CPU. Next is we have the completion time. Completion time refers to the point in time when a process finishes its execution and exits the CPU. The next one is burst time. Ito yung time na magagamit ng isang process para ma-execute siya. And we have the turnaround time. Ito yung total time na nagamit para sa isang process na matapos ang execution, starting from the moment it enters the ready queue until it finishes execution and exits the CPU. Next is waiting time. It refers to the total time of process that spends waiting in the ready queue bago siya makapasok sa CPU para sa kanyang execution. And last but not the least, we have the Gantt chart. It provides a visual representation of how processes are scheduled and executed over time on the CPU. CPU scheduling algorithm. For now, we will tackle only two of the algorithms. The first algorithm is first come first serve or the FCFS and also known as first in first out or the FIFO. And the second one is the priority scheduling. Types of CPU scheduling. There are two types of scheduling. The first one is the preemptive. Preemptive is used when a process switches from the running state to the ready state or from the waiting state to the ready state. Dito ay kapag may nagra-run na process tapos may dumating na mas mataas ang priority, pwedeng tanggalin yun ng process na ongoing na nagra-run at ilagay naman yung process na may mataas na priority. The second one is the non-preemptive. Non-preemptive is used when a process terminates or a process switches from running to the waiting state. Dito naman ay kapag may nagra-run na process sa CPU, is tatapusin na muna yun ng CPU. Dito ay hindi siya napuputol at sa preemptive naman ay maaaring mahinto o maputol ang pag-execute. Now, let's move on to the first algorithm. First come, first serve. The first one is the process which arrive first, get executed first, or the process which requests the CPU first, get the CPU allocated first. The second one is the implementation of the FCFS policy is easily managed with FIFOQ. And last but not the least is the first come first served or the first in first out is the simplest CPU scheduling algorithm. Pwede natin na maging halimbawa nito ay ang pagpila o pagdating sa isang restaurant. Karaniwan naman na sa lahat ng restaurant na kung sino ang unang dumating ay sila ang unang i-accommodate. At kung parehas naman ang kanilang magiging order, ay ang unang umorder ang kanilang unang ipaprocess. Convoy effect. It arises when shorter processes are delayed by longer ones in the queue. This leads to inefficient resource utilization as smaller tasks wait behind longer ones, impacting overall system efficiency and response times. Dito ay kapag nauna ang mataas ang burst time at napupunta naman sa hulihan ang mabababa ay kailangan nilang maghintay na matapos ang na sa unahan bago sila ang maisalang. So let's have an example here. Create a Gantt chart, then calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time if the FCFS scheduling is followed. First is we look on the table. Meron tayong P1 up to P5. The arrival time of P1 is 0, P2 is 10, P3 is 5, P4 is 12, and P5 is 8. At ito yung oras na dumating yung mga process. Then meron tayong burst time. Ito naman yung oras na gagamitin nila yung CPU. Para naman makuha or makompute yung turnaround time at waiting time is we need to create a Gantt chart. Dahil nga na first come first serve ang gamit natin, ay una natin tignan yung arrival time. So, ang unang dumating is si P1 na may arrival time na 0. Mapaprocess na si P1 at may burst time siya na 4. So, ayun yung makokonsume niya. And after that, let's cancel P1. Then pagkatapos niya ma-burst or natapos na yung burst time niya, siya naman ay lalabas. So, at time 4 is walang dumating. So, mababakante yung CPU. Kaya magkakaroon ng idle time. Kumain ng 1 millisecond ang CPU, kaya let's add 1 to 4. So, the answer is 5. Then at time 5, P3 has arrived. And P3 has a burst time of 10. So, let's add 5 to 10. The answer is 15. Let's cancel P3. And next one to arrive is P5 with the arrival time of 8. Put P5 in the Gantt chart, then let's add the burst time of it to the completion time of P3. So, 15 plus 6 is equals to 21. Cancel P5. The next to arrive is P2 na may arrival time na 10. Meron siyang burst time na 8. So, let's add it. 21 plus 8 is 29. Cancel P2. Then last to arrive is P4 na may arrival time na 12. Ilagay si P4 sa Gantt chart. Then add 29 to its burst time. 29 plus 7 is 36. Cancel P4. And then, we now compute the total time, and the total time is 36. Now, let's calculate the turnaround time. The formula for turnaround time is completion time minus the arrival time. Ayun ang ilalagay natin. Makikita natin yung completion time sa Gantt chart. Ito yung nasa baba na number ng ating process ID. So, ang completion time ni P1 is 4. Then, minus natin siya sa kanyang arrival time na 0. So, the answer is 4. Next is P2. The completion time of P2 is 29 and then let's minus it with its arrival time of 10. So the answer is 19. Next is P3 with the completion time of 15. Then minus it to its arrival time. So 15 minus 5 is 10. Next is P4. The completion time of P4 is 36. And then minus it to 12. And the answer is 24. Last but not the least is P5. 21 is the completion time of P5. And the arrival time of P5 is 8. Let's minus it and the answer is 13. So these are the turnaround time for each process. So if we compute the average turnaround time, isang gagawin lang natin dyan ay i-add lahat ng turnaround time and then divide sa number of process which is 5. So 4 plus 19 plus 10 plus 24 plus 13 is equals to 70. Then divide it by 5 and the answer is 14 units. Now, let's calculate the waiting time. The formula for waiting time is turnaround time minus the burst time. Makita yung turnaround time sa ating kinumpit kanina at yung burst time naman is sa table. So sa P1, ang turnaround time niya is 4, then minus it to its burst time. So 4 minus 4 is 0. Next is P2. Turnaround time of P2 is 19 and the burst time is 8. Minus it and the answer is 11. Next is P3. The turnaround time is 10 and minus it to 10 and the answer will be 0. Next is P4. The turnaround time of P4 is 24, then the burst time is 7. Minus it and the answer is 17. And the last on the process is P5. The turnaround time of P5 is 13 with the burst time of 6. Let's minus it and the answer is 7. These are the turnaround time for each process. And now we will compute the average waiting time. Katulad sa average turnaround time, ay i-add lang natin lahat ng na-compute na waiting time at i-divide na lang kung ilan yung process. So 0 plus 11 plus 0 plus 17 plus 7 is equals to 35. Then divide it by 5 and then the answer will be 7 units. So next we have example number 2. Create a Gantt chart that has 2 units overhead. If the FCFS is followed, calculate the efficiency. In this problem, it has a 2 units overhead. So every time it switches from one process to next process, there is a fixed additional cost of 2 time units. So kada alis o pagtapos ng isang process o bago ito dumating, ay meron mo ng fixed na 2 milliseconds. Ang gagawin dyan ay mag-add lang tayo ng dalawa bago dumating pa ang isang process. So let's start. Like I said earlier, let's first look at the table. Meron ulit na P1 up to P5, but hindi na siya ordered. And like sa unang example, meron din itong burst time. Ngayon ay gumawa muna tayo ng Gantt chart. First is ilagay muna natin ang 0 dahil yun ang unang dumating. Dahil 2 units overhead, ay ilagay muna natin ang kanyang symbol. So, 0 plus 2 is 2. Ngayon, ilagay natin sa Gantt chart ang unang process na nag-arrive. At ito is yung P4 na may burst time na 9. Let's add it up. So, 2 plus 9 is 11. Let's cancel P4 in the table. Then ngayon is may umalis na process. So, maglalagay ulit tayo ng overhead bago may pumasok ulit na process. Ilagay ulit natin yung symbol. So, 11 plus 2 is 13. Next to arrive is P3 that has a burst time of 5. So, 13 plus 5 is equals to 18. Let's cancel P3. Then overhead again. 18 plus 2 is 20. P1 is the one who arrived after P3, so let's put P1 here. Then add 20 to its burst time. 20 plus 6 is 26. Cancel it, then put overhead again. 26 plus 2 is 28. After P1, P5 has arrived. It has a burst time of 4, so 28 plus 4 is 32. Cancel P5 and then put overhead again and plus it to the completion time of P5. So 32 plus 2 is 34 and the last one to arrive is P2. And the burst time of it is 3. So 34 plus 3 is equals to 37. Cancel P2 and then now we just computed the total time and the total time is 37. And now let's compute its efficiency. To compute efficiency is we need to use the formula. Useful time divided by total time. To get the useful time, we need to do this formula first. We need to multiply the value of overhead to the useless time. You can see the useless time in the Gantt chart, yun yung may symbol. So 5 multiplied by 2 is equals to 10 units. And the total time is 37. To calculate the useful time is we need to minus the total time to the useless time. So 37 units minus 10 units is equals to 27 units. Now that we have computed the useful time, we can now use this formula. Useful time divided by total time. So 27 units divided by 37 units is equals to 0.7297. To get a percentage, we need to multiply it by 100. And the answer will be 72.97%. Let's move on to the last algorithm, and that is the priority. The first one is it is a method of scheduling processes that is based on priority. In this algorithm, the scheduler selects the task to work as per the priority. Next is in this type of scheduling algorithm, if a newer process arrives that is having a higher priority than the currently running process, then the currently running process is preempted. And last but not the least is priority scheduling can be preemptive or non-preemptive. Overall, priority scheduling allows the operating system to manage process execution efficiently. Just take note na sa priority scheduling ay mayroon ibibigay na number kada isang process. And the lower the number is the higher the priority. And in this video, I will show you and explain to you an example of preemptive priority scheduling. Let's have an example here. Create a Gantt chart, then calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time if the priority scheduling is followed. So we have here the table. And the arrangement of the priority is 3, 4, 2, 1, 5. And take note that the lower the number, the higher the priority. So now let's look at the table. It has 5 processes and that is P1 to P5. Now, let's create the Gantt chart. Let us first look at the table and in the arrival time, P4 arrives at 0. So let's put 0 here. Then let's put P4. P4 has 12 burst time and 3 priority. So the CPU will process it. Then when it reaches at 4 milliseconds, P3 has arrived and then the priority is 2. And remember that the lower the number is the higher the priority. So P4 will stop and P3 will start processing. P4 only process 4 milliseconds. So let's put 4 here. Then let's minus the burst time of P4. 12 minus 4 is equals to 8. Next to arrive is P5. Then the priority of P5 is 1. It is the higher priority, so the CPU will process it first. Let's put P5 here, then it's arrive at 8 milliseconds. So let's put 8 here, then next is yung P3 ay na-process ng CPU ng 4 milliseconds. So kailangan natin bawasan yung burst time niya ng 4. So 8 minus 4 is 4. Ngayon yung P5 ay may 4 na burst time. So ipa-plus natin yung 8 sa burst time ng P5. 8 plus 4 is 12. Ilagay natin dito yung 12. Cancel na natin yung P5 dahil tapos na siya ma-process. Sunod na priority is yung 2. Kaya sunod dito is yung P3. Meron siyang 4 na burst time. Nagamit na yung kalahati kanina kaya naging 4 na lang siya. Kaya 12 plus 4 is equals to 16. Now let's cancel P3. Next na priority is number 3. Ito yung P4. Ilagay natin sa Gantt chart yung P4. Then meron siyang 8 na burst time. Nabawasan na rin siya kanina dahil una siyang dumating kaso nga lang ay mababa ang kanyang priority. So 16 plus 8 is 24. Now let's cancel P4 at the table. Ngayon, dalawa na lang ang natitira at meron itong priority na 4 at 5. Unahin natin yung priority ay 4. So, P2 is the next to process. P2 has a 5 burst time. So, let's plus the completion time of P4 to the burst time of P2. 24 plus 5 is equals to 29. Cancel P2. And last but not the least is P1 with the priority of 5. P5 has a burst time of 10. So, let's add it. 29 plus 10 is equals to 39. Let's cancel it first and how we have calculated the total time and the total time is 39. Now, let's calculate the turnaround time. The formula for turnaround time is completion time minus the arrival time. Yung completion time is yung nasa ibaba ng process ID na nasa Gantt chart. Unahin natin yung nasa table. First is P4. The completion time of P4 is 24. Then minus it to its arrival time. So 24 minus 0 is 24. Next is P2. The completion time of P2 is 29 and minus it to 5 and the answer is 24. Next is P3. 16 is the completion time and 4 is the arrival time. So 16 minus 4 is 12. Next is P5. The completion time is 12 and the arrival time is 8. Minus it and the answer is 4. And last but not the least is P1. 39 is the completion time and 7 is the arrival time. So 39 minus 7 is 32. So if we compute the average turnaround time is we need to plus all the turnaround time. So 24 plus 24 plus 12 plus 4 plus 32 is equals to 96. Then divide it by 5. The answer is will be 19.2 units. Now, let's calculate the waiting time. The formula for waiting time is turnaround time minus the burst time. Makikita yung turnaround time sa ating kinompute kanina at yung burst time naman is sa table. So sa P4, ang turnaround time niya is 24. Then minus it sa kanyang burst time na 12 and the answer is 12. So next is P2. The turnaround time is 24 then minus it to 5. The answer is 19. Next is P3. The turnaround time of P3 is 12. Minus natin siya sa burst time niya na 8. So 12 minus 8 is 4. Next is P5. The turnaround time of P5 and the burst time of it is 4. So minus it and the answer is 0. Next is P1. The turnaround time of P1 is 32 and let's minus it to its burst time and the answer will be 22. Now we can compute the average of waiting time. Let's add up all the waiting time. 12 plus 19 plus 4 plus 0 plus 22 is equals to 57. Let's divide it to 5. So 57 divided by 5 is equals to 11.4 units. And that's all for today. I hope you now have a better understanding of CPU scheduling and its algorithms. Thank you all for listening.